Welcome to GoldBoys Live, presented by Pickett Sports Sleeper Picks. We've got a lot to do, just me and Brian for now. Josh is going to jump in. World Series tonight. We had an NFL game last night, full weekend of NFL. We got basketball. So, Brian, what's going on, man?
Not much. We were just talking about before the show, but this is one of those nights where all the sports fall on the same night. There's like 47 NBA games. There's a World Series. NHL has a decent slate as well. So it's a lot of sports going on, and then there's always those days where it feels like there's no sports going on. So it's one of those more fun days.
It's been weird the past couple nights without baseball. I guess we're going to, we're going to have to start to get used to it at some point. But World Series tonight, Rangers and Diamondbacks, just like everyone expected. But I guess we'll just start with last night. Bucks cover. Bucks had a chance, man. If who was the receiver who was not really paying attention, because that ball was going to hit him right between the numbers if he was.
Yeah, I think it was Godwin.
I think
It was Chris Godwin in the end in the end zone, and that was a perfect Hail Mary. I mean, you can't ask for much more from Baker Mayfield to put a ball in a position to win a game like that. So it was right there for the taking. But I wonder how many more people would be upset about that. With they already had the backdoor cover, and then they were that close to getting the backdoor win.
Would have been, I mean, one of the more improbable comeback wins you'll ever see. I mean, down 14 with a couple minutes left. It's fourth down. It's like, all right, this game's probably over. One last heave to the end zone. Evans gets away with a little push off, which, I mean, technically it's pass interference. They don't usually call it. So Tampa was lucky to even cover, but then to get to almost win the game is just stunning. The bloom is off the rose here with Tampa, and they are now plus 500 to win the division. I feel like it was like a week or two ago. We're like, oh, they're the short shot. They're the favorite. They're like plus 150. Brad had his Buccaneers pom-poms out. He's like, oh, they're going to win the division. They haven't won a game here in a few weeks. That was a pretty comfortable Bills win. I think the final score was misleading. Bills now plus 190 to win the division. Like I said, Tampa plus 500. Any takeaways? And any of those you would bet? Any other takeaways from the game last night?
Honestly, I just don't know if I want to trust anything with that because, as you said, the score is a little misleading. But the Bills really haven't looked like great all year. Like even that, like they had, you look at their stats, you almost would think they'd have more points on the board with some of their longer drives. They got stopped to the one time. They've looked really flat at times. They had two or three plays at the 1 yard line, and they line up the shotgun to throw two of those three plays, wherever it was. I just don't know what I see sometimes with this Bills offense. I bet yesterday I backed a lot of their passing game stuff. This team finds every chance they can to not run the football, and it's such a key part of the game. So that's the only thing that scares me at the Bills is that if they ever need to run out the clock or prevent these late game comebacks, they just don't have the running game, or like they don't trust it enough to keep it and waste clock, because Tampa Bay had a legit chance to come back and win that game, and a lot of it is because of that. So the Bills still I'm not really sold on them as like, being that team in the AFC.
The schedule coming up is interesting. At the Bengals, then they have a pretty soft stretch where they get the Broncos, they get the Jets. I mean, those are really the two games. So you get a little 2-game breather where you kind of have to get those, because after that, at the Eagles, at the Chiefs, then the Cowboys, then at the Chargers, and they finish their final game is at Miami. Man, that is a brutal. Some of these teams, we talked about Philly having a tough stretch. They already got one in the bank here, but that's a brutal stretch here for Miami, for Buffalo. Because I was looking at like, oh, plus 190 to win the division. That seems high. They're just as good as Miami. They already beat Miami. Maybe Miami's coming back down to earth a little bit, but man, that schedule would keep me off of it.
No, yeah, I also, like I said, I've actually actively tried to root for the Bills for like 2 seasons, and I just never, I don't know if I trust them as an overall. As I said, I don't know if I trust them to be the team that can hold a lead in the fourth quarter in a lot of these games. They're almost better, almost better to trust coming from behind by score.
I feel like they never got over that 13 seconds against the Chiefs a couple years ago. I mean, that's just one where they
it's a franchise destroyer right there.
It is, because the game is so over. You're up 13 seconds. I mean, you're up 3 with 13 seconds left. All you need to do is kick the ball in bounds, hold the receivers. Like, you have to try to lose that game. And they would have been home for the Bengals in the AFC title game, and they would have played the Rams in the Super Bowl. They would have been favored. I mean, you never know. You can never say, hey, they probably won the Super Bowl, but they certainly would have been favored to win the Super Bowl. It's hard to get over. So I don't know. Josh is here. Josh is decided to join us. We appreciate his presence here.
Thanks for having me.
Any takes on the game last night, Josh? Bills plus 190 to win the division. Bucks plus 500 to win the division. Either of those you jump on, or anything else from last night?
No, I'm not really jumping on either of those necessarily. But
all right, thanks for coming on, Josh.
Yeah,
appreciate it. We'll see you guys on Monday.
I didn't realize I had.
In his defense, that was
Is this
in
the
his defense, that was our take, is that I don't know if I trust the Bills even with their like being good price.
well, also, I mean, I didn't know we were doing a NFC South, AFC East, like,
Surprise.
preview. You
Keeping you
have
on your
to.
toes.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, we talk about the NFC South a lot on this show, and be honest. We're like sort of drawn to the like really weird, convoluted doo-doo divisions and races for some reason. Like we were talking about the AL Central last year or whatever. But anyway, I still like this Bucks team. I like them to cover last night, and I will continue to like them as big dogs. They didn't have their two best interior defensive linemen. So it just kind of ruined a lot of the stuff that Brian and I were talking about on the show yesterday, because we were looking at maybe a little bit more receiving props and stuff like that for the Bills. And Allen went over, but it was still like they rushed the ball really well because there was nobody to stop them on the inside for Tampa Bay. So
Yeah, give Josh credit. He did take the Bucks plus 9.5 yesterday,
I
or
don't know if
whatever
you
it
get
was.
credit for that one. That's a
Eh.
lucky one right there.
Baker, baby, Baker makes
Yeah,
plays.
he came through in the end. But
I was
yeah.
good whether they got the 2 or not. You know,
Oh, no, I mean, down 14, 4th and 10, you get a
yeah,
pass interference on Evans, and I mean,
yeah. You keep your hands to yourself, man.
what do you mean? That was a
I
push
mean,
off on Evans.
which one? Are you saying
Touchdown.
the touchdown? Oh, I thought you were talking
Yeah.
about when they got the 4th and 10.
Yeah. How about this? Falcons minus 155 for the division, Saints plus 240, and then Carolina 80-1. I mean, I actually think Atlanta's probably going to win it. I guess by default, they'll probably get to the 8 or 9 wins and probably win it. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Can we talk about
Sounds nice.
I don't want to like waste too much of the time talking about the Falcons on this show because there's so much to talk about. But can we talk about how Arthur Smith is now like addressing in like interviews? He's like, I don't really care about your fantasy. What do you want? Like I think it's so weird when people break that fourth wall and they start like directly coming in and being like,
Well, what about the
stop
inverse?
criticizing me. Like, yeah, I guess.
No,
but
because there was a player who just said it. I forget who it was. There
Diggs,
was
I think.
Was it
it was
Diggs? I thought
Stephon Diggs.
yeah, I thought it was Diggs,
Yeah.
and he was like, I really do feel bad when I mess up y'all's bets and fantasy teams.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah,
funny.
yeah,
So,
it's
like-
funny, but I watched that whole Arthur Smith interview where he was just going on a tangent about how he doesn't give a shit about like fantasy, and he's like, "What do you want me to
Anything.
do? Tell
You know he's a
tell you."
billionaire.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah,
He's
so
just,
he
I
doesn't
don't.
give a shit
What
about
do you want me to
anything.
do? He's like, "Do you want me to tell you how many carries each player's going to get?" It was just a whole tangent. He's been kind of up and down all year with how
He
he's
doesn't give a shit about
managing
anything. He's got
games.
billions of dollars. That he doesn't even care about fucking passing the ball in the NFL. He's just here to like tinker and toy around like it's his own little project.
All right, NFL this week. Best bets, Josh. You can start. What do you got?
Best bet so far. I started with player props. Am I allowed to do that here?
Whatever you got.
I'm taking Brees Hall to just run all over the Giants. 68.5 yards. You still get a touchdown for plus money for him as well. He was plus 130 last night. Probably dropped a smidge. But yeah, I think he's just going to run all over this team, which you can do at will. So
Are they bad against the run?
yeah. Yeah, they give up the 5th most rushing yards, 3rd most touchdowns, most rushing touchdowns now, 10 of them to running backs. They're bad.
They've actually played pretty good defense recently. Let me fact
Yep,
check.
but you're still your opposing RB1 is still eating against them.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right that the last 2 games have definitely been better for them. But even James Cook was above 5 yards carry.
And James Cook is. I don't know how I feel about James Cook. He's such a
really good,
he's such an enigma. He's on the wrong team. I feel like
He's on the
I feel
wrong
like
team, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Allen wants to throw downfield. So I did have a oh yeah, I'm still gonna take the Texans for sure on the road against the Panthers.
That's fair. What's the current line for that? Is it still -3 without the hook yet?
3.5 South
Is it 3.5 now?
there.
Yeah, I mean, I still think
3.5
CJ Stroud's gonna have a day against them too. I think he's a pass all over him.
Let me check on Pickett Sports to see if
Brian,
there's still
Burns
a
is
3 even.
Brian Burns is hurt, but it feels like a my buddy called it a trade deadline injury.
I'll go head to head with you here. I'll take Carolina. I like Carolina. Should we do a show
Ooh.
bet?
But do I get 3?
No, it's 3.5.
Three is available even at Caesars, MGM, and Sugar House.
Yeah, I
so.
get 3.
All
I
right,
mean, I'll do it
I'll
with
take the 3.5.
Pickett Sports in the clutch for Josh there.
Yeah,
Dropping
no,
line.
I mean,
Take
look,
it.
that's a good lesson to shop around. And if you like the favorite, you like the 3. If you like the dog, make sure you get the 3.5. That comes into account. We've seen it come into. We've seen it matter plenty of times. So I lean Carolina here. I just think the bye will do them some well. They've actually been playing a little better. Man, after seeing it last week too, I just don't know. With some of these mediocre teams laying points on the road, we saw like the Raiders laying points on the road and Washington laying points on the road. It's like some of these teams, like I don't know if Houston's at the level where, all right, we're going to be laying over a field goal or a field goal. on the road. I'm just not there with them yet. So got to figure Carolina's going to win at some point. They're not tanking for a pick. So it's ugly, but at 3.5, I think it's a good plan, Carolina.
Yeah, in the chat as well, our guy favorites now. He said Latavius Murray's 33 years old and vulturing carries. It is crazy how you see Murray getting a lot of those. We were talking about James Cook a second ago, so I wanted to point that out. That I thought was interesting that he's like 48 years old, still taking decent amount of workload on that team, which is interesting.
Yeah. What else? What
Bengals are up to +4. It's Friday. What time is it?
9:30 at DraftKings, FanDuel. Wow.
We're probably still like 3 or 4 hours from finding out more about Brock Purdy. Is there really that big of a downgrade from Brock Purdy to Sam Darnold? We did that a little bit of this yesterday.
I think there should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, it seems like he's worth about a point.
Couple points.
It's at +4 right now. So maybe it ends at +5.
I think there's some uncertainty whether Purdy's going to play. I think if it was Darnold, it'd probably go down to 3.
But it seems like more and more that it's not going to be Purdy, and it keeps creeping up from 3 to 3.5 to 4.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll get to 5 once the Darnold news is officially out? Is the thing, which will be in like it could either be in 3 to 4 hours. It could be Sunday morning. But
if it's officially Darnold in,
yeah,
I don't think it would go to 5. I think it would tick down to like 4.
Oh, okay. It's at 4 right now on some books. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing 4.5 at FanDuel. So 4.5. I think if it's Darnold, it'll go the other way. I don't think it would go up because of it's Darnold.
Right. Sorry. Yeah. Right.
Why you guys think there's not that much of a difference?
I don't know if I'd say that. I just feel like I think this would be a very interesting game to see, just to see how the not even before the game. It's gonna be really interesting to see how the market reacts to that line because, as you said, it probably goes down to 3. It would be very interesting because that team's just good in general. I don't know if it would say it's a downgrade at all. I just think it'd be interesting to see how the market decides how they feel that change will help this team or hurt this team.
I have a unique sort of insight to this because I have seen Sam Darnold play football. And he fucking sucks.
He also hasn't played. He also hasn't played. Like
there's a reason he hasn't played. He played last year. He played for the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Even that was kind of like, was that really playing football? It was. It was like.
I mean, he had a chance to win the division late in the year. Remember? I don't know if we were doing the shows together. I had Carolina at some ridiculous numbers to win the division. They were up like 14 on Tampa, and
I also think that people forget that there's so many things that go into playing quarterback. And sure, Sam Darnold has a great arm talent, but that's about one of the 18 things you have to be a successful quarterback. So
does Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's so many more to it where I think people see Sam Darnold throw a ball like 40 yards on the field and like, holy shit, this guy is the shit. And it's like, oh yeah, but there's also so many other things to do right, which he just hasn't been able to do.
Yeah, he played for a handful of games last year for Carolina, a handful of games.
So you guys don't
passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The year before that, 9 touchdowns, 13 picks, 9 touchdowns, 11 picks. The year before that, I don't know. So you guys are pro Darnold or anti Darnold? I can't get the sense what you guys.
That's
honestly, you're gonna hate this, but I'm kind of just indifferent. I have no clue what to expect from him because
I'm kind of just on the angle either way. I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm kind of. It keeps rising, and I don't know. I mean, if Purdy's in there, I still like 4 points for the Bengals. To be honest, I think the conversation in San Francisco is Steve Wilks, their defensive coordinator, is just so far below D'Amico Ryans and just looks lost at times and is doing the actual wrong thing in most instances. So that gives me pause because there's people out here who are like, we love this defense, but it's only even good on the strength of its talent. So that combined with like a slightly concussed Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold, I don't know.
Yeah.
Coming off a bye, like Burrow's even healthier than he was.
I agree. I think that's a big factor. Burrow can move around a little bit now. And that's a good defensive coordinator. Anarumo, I think is how you say it, for Cincy. So you're giving a good defensive coordinator extra time to prep. And no Debo for San Fran's huge. No Trent Williams. And again, if Sam Darnold's involved, I like Cincy. Just not a Darnold fan at all. Anything else you guys like here? Brian, did you give anything?
Honestly, the one thing I locked in is like probably the grossest thing, but I kind of like the Jaguars in against the Sierras this week to at least hold a lead. I actually took Kenny Pickett over 216.5 passing yards. I'm actually surprised it's that low. He's over that in 5 I mean, he's over there in 5 of the 6 games. Jaguars, they cannot guard through the air. I mean, I think this is one of those games where they've been so good at funneling the pass game because their run defense has been phenomenal all season. And I think this offense should have decent success against a good defense with the Steelers. So as long as it stays close, I think that Pickett's gonna be throwing the ball, and I lean the Jaguars. So if I lean the Jaguars, I usually take those quarterback props
over.
for the opposing team.
Which one do you like better, Jags or the quarterback?
I only took Pickett, but
You took Pickett, okay.
I can't believe you just spit out the exact logic that I used to bet on Jalen Warren over 19.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, it works out.
And you didn't bet a running back player prop. That is so
I know. Well,
shocking to me. This is because of everything you said, dude. Just because they stop the run, they allow the most yards per game against them, right, from running backs, like the receiving yards.
Yeah.
Running backs are receiving against them all the time because you can't run against them. So the outlet is you throw a dink and dunk to your running back. And that's why Najee Harris isn't going to be playing nearly as much as Jalen Warren in this game. If you look at the game log shares, like the snap share between them, when it's a good running defense, then you get Jalen Warren in there to pass against it. When it's a bad running defense, you put Najee in there to see if he's got anything left in there.
And he never does. Yeah. I'll say this, though, is a game like this where I saw advantages in Warren's passing props, but I also think Pickett, like Pickens has a good deep ball threat in this game as well. So if I like multiple people on an offense to have success against a defense, a lot of times I'll fall on just betting on the quarterback who's going to be feeding them. So if two of the three I like, then usually that means the quarterback should be having a decent day as well.
Anything else you guys like here? I think Atlanta. Like I don't like this team, but -2.5 Titans. We know teams don't tank, but man, I mean, they already traded one of their best defensive players. They're going to play Willis. They're going to play Levis and Malik Willis. They're going to alternate quarterbacks. That never works. To me, Atlanta. I mean,
how does
Tannehill's officially out?
I don't think he's playing. He's got a high ankle sprain. I don't think there's any sign he's playing.
I think they're doing that thing where they're trying to act like, oh, like he might play, but it's like, dude, we all know he's not going to play. I just don't think they want to give all their cards, but it's not like they have many cards to show. So,
dude, their car, I mean, they're basically being like, well, our quarterback might play, but Will Levis might be worse than Malik Willis. Think about that. Malik Willis is like the 42nd best quarterback in the league right now. And like, I think Will Levis is, I mean, according to people who know a lot more about college football than me, Will Levis is just straight up bad. So,
that's and again, if he was that good, he'd be playing over Willis. Like,
you don't pick him in the second round, bench him, and be like, we're gonna stash him away behind Malik Willis. What?
Right. I mean, that's why I played under 7.5 wins for the Titans this week. I played it earlier. And I played it again. I just think they're trading guys. I think young quarterbacks. I don't see this working here for
the only thing that to give anybody pause is Mike Vrabel taking points at home.
Yep.
It's the only thing.
Yep.
I think Malik Willis and Will Levis are bad enough to supersede that.
Or he just mucks up the game and the Falcons are going to run the ball. I mean, the total here is 35. That's about as low as you're going to see a total in the NFL, 35. So, yeah, you win like Atlanta wins a 16-14 game, but the Titans cover. That's always possible. Another one, to me, Jets. Like, the Jets are just better than the Giants. It's going to be Taylor again for the Giants. Battle of the backup quarterbacks, Jets, Giants. To me, like Jets, there's some 2.5s, there's some 3s. To me, the Jets are just the better team than the Giants.
So
yeah, the Giants have not been good. I actually I'm mad at the Giants for sneaking away 2 wins because I really thought
almost beat Buffalo. They played okay, but
Tyrod Taylor's played okay.
Tyrod Taylor's been so. What happened?
The defense has played okay too. I mean,
the defense has been better for sure. It's getting better. It's like heating up, but Tyrod Taylor has been unquestionably better than Daniel Jones, and he's receiving the same amount of pressure. He still has the same lack of offensive line. And he's finding guys in the right way, and he's throwing the ball away at the right times. And Jones is turning the ball over.
I think he started twice. He's put up 14 points and 9 points, so it's not like he's lighting the world on fire. But I agree, he's taking care of the ball. He's not taking sacks.
I guess
part of the reason they were losing 35-14 is because Jones is turning the ball over every other.
So where are you just by not turning the ball over? I agree with you. I think the Jets are a better team. I was just going to say, giving credit to Tyrod Taylor, even last week, 14 points, but no turnovers. He threw for 280 yards. I just don't know if the Giants can go back to Daniel Jones. Like besides the money they have in it, like there's no. They put themselves in a situation where they have so much money tied into Daniel Jones, and that is the only reason he should be the starting quarterback, which is never a good place to be. But
that's why I'm not going to bet this game. But everything that I'm hearing and reading is like sharps are betting the Giants, and if Tyrod Taylor plays, they really like that bet.
Yeah, I guess the one thing
not creeping over 3 though.
I know Will brought it up earlier, but this is that game where you can kind of hopefully get a discount, which I thought maybe get a bigger discount on the Jets because it's quote unquote a home / away game for them, but you didn't really get that much of a discount on the line in terms of it
No,
being a
because
away game for them.
I think the sharp money keeps it from getting to like 3.5 because the bets are coming out on the Jets, the money's coming out on the Giants, and it's the logic that I'm understanding is I get points against Zach Wilson. Great.
Yeah.
That's it. End of story.
Maybe the under is just the way to go here because I mean, like, how many points are the Jets going to score? Giants aren't going to be able to block those Jets pass rushers. The Giants offensive line is a mess. 36.5 is low, but I don't know, 16-13 type of game. Like I don't see anybody. And Taylor's more. Taylor's low variance too. He's not going to turn the ball over. He's not going to make big plays. If it's 4th and 2, they're going to punt. Yeah, exactly. You figure the Jets will be conservative with Wilson too. Like they're not going to go crazy. They'll probably
going to get blitzed.
Conservative.
Yeah. Jets minus 3 is plus 100 on Caesar Sportsbooks as well. If you want to get even money on.
Are all the 2.5s gone?
I'm looking at Pickett Sports right now,
and they have yesterday. So
they have 3 for every single book that I see.
Which app are you using, Brian?
Pickett Sports. They sponsor the show. It's a great tool to use.
Nice.
Good plug. We get 36 cents for that plug.
There you go. That's about all I have. Oh no, to me, one more and we can move on to baseball unless you guys have anything. Ravens minus 9.5. That's a lot of points to lay on the road. I don't think it's enough. I think the Cardinals are awful. They can play competitive for like short spurts, but they can't really do it for a whole game. That first few weeks when they're competitive and they were, in games and they're upsetting people, that's a little while ago now. They've gotten killed here the last month. So to me, Baltimore is not the type of team to overlook anybody. They should probably be 7-0. So I don't think Baltimore stubs their toe here. I think they win this game. I don't know, 30-13, something like that. So to me, as long as it's under 9, as long as it's under 10, when you're only laying 9.5, I kind of like Baltimore here.
Yeah.
I know Josh likes Zay Flowers a lot. So
nope, not doing it. I'm off the Zay Flower drug.
Nah, Zay Flowers been great. I think he actually is. This sounds so weird, but they nailed that pick because I think the one thing the Ravens were missing in terms of being a much better football team is having that outside threat. For so long, they've had the run game and Mark Andrews. I think having this talent on the actual receiving core has made them look so much more like an actual NFL football team, which has been great for them.
Yeah. The Lamar is always just like a trump card. The thing that scares me, whenever I see 9.5, I feel like it's like when somebody's like, get this for $5.99. I'm like, you mean $6? Why are you trying to like swindle? It feels like you're swindling me. And the like 9.5 is one of those, right? Bump it up against 10, but it's below it. So you're like, well, that's a number that I care about is 10. So I'll take the 9.5. And it's like, well, it's a shitty teasable number. We'll get some 3.5 teases. Like, it just scares me that like there's something there with
happened last night too with 9.5.
I'm sure they took it. I'm sure they bumped it from 8.5 to 9.5 to take it out of the teaser range because at 8.5 it's just a slam dunk. It's not a slam dunk teaser like because they're on the road, but to me, like
but it's also we saw it last night too with the 9.5. That backdoor cover can really suck if you're up 10 and you have a 9.5.
Yeah,
because that was a game yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, what's the deal with Kyler Murray? He's on the injury report.
I wouldn't think he's playing.
I don't think he's playing, but how weird is that he's just like, just taken off the injury report. He's going to be, I don't know. He's definitely not playing, but I thought it was interesting that he did get removed off any injury list.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point of playing him though and winning an extra game or two and winning 4 games?
No, there's none.
2 games. Like you're just screwing yourself out of a higher pick.
Can they shop him though? So if they put him on display, he's got to be good to get something back for him.
Yeah, I think
you might be able to get more from Josh Dobbs right now.
There's something with Dobbs hasn't played well in a few weeks now.
Yeah.
Murray, I think something with the contract where if he gets hurt, they're on the hook for next year's contract, so it incentivizes them to sit him. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I do like Baltimore. Anything else for you guys, sides wise? Anything?
No other strong feelings about sides necessarily. No, but I am going to take the Bengals points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we think Party plays or no?
I think even if he plays, like he's slightly concussed, but I don't think he does. Like I think that Kyle kind of likes Darnold enough, to be honest. So
I like that you're on a first name basis with him.
Yeah, it's Kyle. You know what I mean?
It's Kyle. Kyle.
What about the Bears to cover against the Chargers?
I wouldn't lay it with the Chargers, but the Chargers to me are a good teaser leg. Like Man, if I'm going to tease the Chargers, if they don't cover the teaser, I'm done with them for a very long time. This is a last straw with the Chargers, but they
You
should win this game, you would think, right?
you need a meeting of some kind, Will, like a Chargers Anonymous, some kind of recovery group, because like you got to stop.
No, they've been fine with me.
Got to be
Look,
bad for your blood pressure.
I mean, I took them. To me, they're a great teaser. Like anytime, like a couple weeks ago against Dallas, when they're getting 1.5, 2 points, it's like, oh, who's going to win? It's like, who cares? You just tease them. They're in every game. Last week, they finally didn't lose by single digits.
Yeah.
And
How much
Kansas
would
City
you be
pulled
up over the
away.
last 3 years if you took the Chargers -2.5, but plus like 5.5 every single game? It's
Oh, I
probably
know.
it's
They're a great
probably
teaser.
probably
They're
pretty
a
good.
great
They'll probably
teaser.
probably have a lot of those like
It's a really good
4-point
middle.
games.
It's incredible middle. Yeah.
Let's transition to the World Series just to wrap up here because game one is tonight. Diamondbacks Rangers. Boy, I'm looking at these cross sport specials. You guys see these on DraftKings? It's called Everything's Bigger in Texas. Rangers total hits plus Dallas Mavericks made 3-pointers over 25.5 is plus 110. And then you could do an Arizona special. Arizona total runs plus Arizona Coyotes total goals over 6.5 minus 120.
I need
want
you
to
to
take
go
a bold
back.
stance. I'm
I
going
need
to take
you
a
to
bold
read those
stance
again.
here.
Okay, I'll read it.
You go first.
No,
I'll
go,
take my
Brian.
stance. No, my stance is I've never understood the whole. I love people do it all the time. I don't understand the cross sport parlay. I don't. I've never really been a big fan of. I don't understand
Marketing.
it. There's like
It's fun.
I get that, but I'm saying people that play for the people that actually take part or make them on their own. I just feel like it's so high variance and so just convoluted. Like I don't know. That's just my thing. I never really understood them.
I think
Brian
it's
off,
more,
but Brian the
more
fun sucker.
entertainment than anything.
Yeah.
Don't be a fun sucker, Brian.
I'm just saying. My thing is, if I'm watching Saturday
I get
sports,
your
I don't
thing.
want to have to focus on like World Series. And
I
it's like,
get
oh wait,
your
what the
thing.
hell? Like,
It's
what's
a-
Alabama's score? Like,
You know what it is? People like to map out. All right, well, I think they'll hit this many threes. I think they'll get that many hits. So like, it's trying to almost solve a riddle where it's a fun one. I don't know that any like.
Just give me the basketball one again, real quick.
Yeah, basketball. Texas Rangers total hits plus Dallas Mavericks total 3-pointers made. The 25.5 is plus 110 to the over.
I can tell you that Brooklyn is good at defending the three because all of their players are 6'8" rangy wings.
yeah.
But I can also tell you Luka Doncic is an unstoppable fucking force.
This is very helpful.
I got nothing for you, pal. But I'd put the Mavs at about 13 threes for like, so what's that, 12, 13 hits?
Seems like a lot.
That seems like a lot of hits.
How many threes did Dallas make in their first game?
That's a great question. They were playing the Spurs. Going to that stat right this second for you. That was on
at least
Wednesday.
3. Yeah, it was Wednesday. I got it. Hold on.
Okay.
This is great
I got it
entertainment
first.
right now. I shouldn't just.
Well, you asked
Say
a question.
something
we're
interesting
still
there.
here
It's my
for
fault.
it.
It's my fault.
They made 15. They made 15.
15. yeah.
15. So
Still
if
puts
they
you at
made-
like 10 hits. The fuck out of here. 15 threes against a team that's way better at defending the three than the Spurs were.
Texas. The Rangers are the home team too. So if you're winning, you don't get the 9th at bat. So maybe the under is the way to go there.
What are the odds here? Like minus 110?
Can you bet both sides of it?
Tell me it's minus
What do you
115 on both sides.
Over
on
25 and a half
that
is plus
boost.
110. Under 25.5 is minus 130. So the under is the
Okay,
favorite.
I give them credit for that. I
Nice
didn't
job.
realize you can have both sides. So a
Nice
lot
job.
of times these boosts they don't have they don't have
Right.
both sides to bet. Usually it's a one-side market. So
And
I
at
give them a
least-
little credit there.
Cool. Yeah. Go eat the juice. Great.
Under. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you guys' general just thoughts on this series? Who win? We'll keep it simple. Who wins and how many games? Fuck if I know, but I'm gonna ask you guys.
No, you need to go first.
I'll take Rangers in 7 plus 400 as the odds. I kind of throw my hands up. I didn't think Arizona would be here. And again, we had people in the chat the other day. How could you not pick Arizona? Not exactly what they were saying, but like,
Yeah.
look, this team was outscored during the season. If you picked them, and I saw somebody on Twitter had a big ticket on them to win the World Series, I think win the World Series. Like, oh, I saw what nobody else saw. It's like you saw a team that got outscored in the regular season. They got in, they got hot. Like,
If it's even real. I mean, I have
an awesome
Photoshop
ticket.
too. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it is because
No.
a lot of main people have picked it up. I think
I'm
it
just fucking
probably is
around.
verified. But to me, look, I'm not discounting Arizona. I just think Gowan and Kelly are so much better at home than on the road. They're both going to be on the road to start this series. Texas can really hit. Evaldi. I'll take Texas in 7. I'll root for a long series. I'll put it this way: I would not be shocked by anything that happens in the series. I don't know how you could be.
yeah. No,
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I've watched like all of 2.5 Diamondbacks games, so like
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know where to start capping. And they also just fluctuated in every like metric when I would actually try to like bet on them during the regular season. It was just
Yeah.
like, well, are they in the middle of a streak or not?
If the Cubs could catch a fly ball, Arizona would have never made the playoffs, and the Cubs would have made it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
it's
insane.
the only
So
thing I can say
the
is
reason that they're in the middle of a hot streak.
yeah, I can say this though is you cannot always guard against like the team of destiny. That's what I keep seeing on Twitter. It's like, oh, the team of destiny. It's like, that's not really a thing. But then
Yeah.
sometimes, like Will said, the fly ball, this, that, it's just a lot
How
of
did the
things.
team? How did the team of destiny work out for the Rockies when they got swept by the Red Sox after winning?
That's a good point. I think the Cinderella is a good story in sports. Like, oh, FAU gets to the Final Four, or
Right.
like the Heat get to the finals. Cinderella, I feel like rarely actually wins it.
Yeah,
Nick Foles, baby. I'll go.
They were the
I'll
one
go
seed, though. But they were
Cinderella.
the one seed.
yeah,
Yeah,
Cinderella.
they were like the first team to be underdogs
Any
every
chance
single
he
way.
gets to say
Yeah.
Nick Foles now?
At the risk of opening myself even to more hate when the series is over, because as Will said, who knows what's gonna happen. I watched a lot of the Diamondbacks games, and I'm gonna go Rangers in 6.
Okay.
And I think it's just solely because I know they beat the Phillies. It's not me being resentful. It's just I think Phillies are up in that series 2-0. They were up 3-2. I feel like they kind of beat themselves down the stretch. I mean, they made some questionable decisions. They swung at every pitch imaginable. I just don't know if the Rangers are going to be a team that will start panic swinging so early and set
Yeah,
themselves
they're
back.
bad cold. I mean, this is the stat I guess I should have just led with. Texas was outscored by 15 runs this year. I mean, I'm sorry, Arizona was outscored by 15 runs this year over the course of the season. Only the second team in playoff history to be outscored and make the playoffs. The Marlins this year were the other one.
It was awesome.
Texas outscored their opponents by 165 runs. So you'd be like, oh, this is 2 Cinderellas. Nobody expected either team. Texas was a legitimate, like, borderline powerhouse team, where Arizona's the real Cinderella. So, I mean, it hasn't mattered who's better in these playoffs. It's just who plays better in a short series.
Also,
but I'll take Texas here.
Give me all the love to Nathan Eovaldi. Like I feel like he's been so good for like this team, and I just feel, you look at Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen got destroyed so far in the playoffs. He had like a 90 ERA last series.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying he's worse or better than a guy like Eovaldi, but he's not. He just hasn't looked as sharp as guys like you can see on the Rangers that maybe are lesser known names, but they're pitching a lot more efficiently, which goes a long way.
Which is crazy because they don't. I mean, if you're going to tell me before the playoffs Arizona gets to the World Series, I'd be like, oh wow, that's surprising. Gallen.
You think you would have Gallen would have some hardware, right? You think he has some hardware already in his pocket.
Yeah. What do you guys think MVP? And then we could wrap on this. Garcia's 5-1, Seager plus 550, Marte 9-1, Carroll 9-1, Carter 14-1, Simeon 14-1. Eovaldi 16-1. These prices, it's like with first touchdown score. All these prices look a little short. I'll just hop around here. Walker 20-1, Gallen 20-1. I mean, they're not going to. Scherzer 70-1. He said he was dealing with a finger issue and he feels better now. I mean, would you take a shot at Scherzer 70-1? It seems like a stretch.
No.
Fott 65-1. You guys tell me anything
for a pitcher. You need him to have like multiple like 7+ games.
2 wins. Yeah.
And I think he has to go like 7
wins.
of like 1 or 2 hit ball, like 2, 3 hit ball.
I think we talked about this Wednesday. I said I think it was 17-1 on FanDuel or whatever it was. If anything, with how bad the prices were, I would take like an Eovaldi or something, because we were talking about it when we covered the other series that same thing. If the Phillies ended up coming back with Wheeler on the mound,
don't even bring it up.
I know, but I'm saying pitching in Game 7, Eovaldi would be the kind of guy, if it goes 7, he gets a third outing, or this, that, or the other. I
mean, how many pitchers have won World Series MVP recently? Like
Strasburg won it a few years ago. I'm trying to think. It's a random mix. If you go through World Series MVP, it's a lot of stars, it's a lot of scrubs, it's all over the map. Or sometimes like Steve Pearce won it a few years ago, Soler won it a few years ago. Where he's
I guess my
all over the place.
To add to that point, Will, like that one I'm trying to make is like the likelihood that it's a random ass dude increases the chances that it's that person's a hitter. It's not going to be a pitcher that's random, because that person's not going to get the usage to like do it. So if it's a pitcher, it's one of the starters who just pitches like 20 innings or whatever, and 17 innings, 18 innings in a World Series total, and then comes in for and it's a situation too, because when you're a batter, you have the storyline of like, I walked off or I got us the win, and the pitcher like holds. The pitcher doesn't win it, he holds. You know what I mean? So I just think it's like, if you're going to go random, like it's still just the outs are so much higher for a batter.
Pena won it last year, the shortstop for the Astros. Soler won it the year before that. Corey Seager in 2020. Strasburg in 2019. Steve Pearce in 2018. George Springer in 2017. Ben Zobrist in 2016.
Bumgarner then was the last pitcher, like
Salvador Perez, Bumgarner, Ortiz. Sandoval, David Freese, Matsui, Cole Hamels, Eckstein. It's all over the map.
That was
It's some
two
great
pitchers though. You said Strasburg and you said Mad Bum. And that's
Strasburg in 2019, Bumgarner.
how many
in
innings did they pitch, right? And Bum had the first save of his career. Like
so last 15 years, there's 3 pitchers. Then is that what you're saying? 3.
Yeah,
for
it's
the
about
last
right.
15 years.
Yep.
No,
not worth it.
Yeah.
All right, give me a name. Who would you guys? If I gave you $100 free bet, who would you bet here?
Let me find my favorite better.
I'm challenging Josh, and I'm sticking with Eovaldi.
You're going to Eovaldi?
I'm challenging Josh just because, like I said, if you get 3, if he comes in relief in a Game 7 situation, he has 2 wins. I think it's one of those things where he might, because you also got to remember this, Josh. You also like if you're that batter, you have to make that big play. Like for all we know, there might not be like a down 3 or down 2, like bottom of the 9th or whatever, like dramatic thing. Like there hasn't been many dramatic wins in these postseason at all in terms of even Game 7 of last series, the Rangers won by like 86.
Oh fuck it, yeah! Give me Marcus Semien then. 15-1.
Semien. This goes against my pick, but just for the number standpoint, there's so many guys. I will take Brandon Pfaadt 65-1. Why not? He'll probably pitch Game 3, and that'll line him up to pitch Game 7. I mean, he's pitched 2 really good games in the playoffs. I mean, it's 65-1. I mean, I don't know. There's so many guys here that taking under 20-1. It's one of those things like with MVP in the NFL or first touchdown scorer. We're like, oh, if you hit a 9-1 or 12-1, that's great. But like needle in a haystack bets where so many guys can win it, like a 12-1 is just not like juicy enough for me unless I just don't feel like I'm getting a great number.
I just want to do one more thing about the everything bigger in Texas bet that I'm starting to like now. It's 16.5 hits in this game, which for the Rangers probably means like slightly out hitting the D-backs with the way that they're on
10.5. They probably have 10.5 as a line.
So I guess it is pretty like well thought out of like
sure. I mean, they're not
obviously they just combined the numbers, but like I think both numbers are like pretty fair. The 15 is a good number. They shot 47 threes in that first game, did the Mavs, and I don't see them changing their style of play. So it scares me a little bit more and more to take the under because I think 15 threes will be what they probably average this season. So it's a pretty standard even bet, in which case maybe you take the juice.
Looking to see if are you guys actually betting any of these MVPs? Do I have to bet Pfaadt now that I said it because I can't not bet
because we're not going to hear the end of it until you do.
You can't come from the rafters. You can't come from the rafters with Pfaadt and then not bet it. I feel like.
No, like I said, it's mostly we're going to hear about it, and now we are going to be talking about Brandon Pfaadt more than we otherwise would have. So that's fine. But
are you betting your Eovaldi, Bri?
I'll put some skin in the game. I'll put
just because you don't want to be right and not get it.
Yeah.
I'll take former Oakland Athletic Marcus Semien.
Also, Eovaldi's out tonight was 15.5 at open, and I felt that was really an interesting line. He's been pitching.
Oh, that's a good one. We should probably let's touch on the outs and then let's get out of here.
Okay.
Let's see.
My favorite NBA bet tonight. God, take Julius Randle over points and rebounds combined. It's at 31.5. He's averaging 39.5 in his career on the Knicks against the Hawks.
I got some Knicks friends that hate Julius Randle.
He's like my least favorite player.
We're never gonna win with him on the team, like anything real. But but he's gonna get 39 points and rebounds tonight.
So both pitchers are at 15.5. Again, that's a key number, 5 innings. But you figure Game 1, they'll let these guys go. They'll have some rope. I'd look towards over for both of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just think we talk about all the time. Eovaldi, like those kind of guys in the playoffs, they eat innings. They do it effectively. Not like they're not like inning eaters, but they go out there, they pitch their ass off, and they give the 6 or 7 innings, whatever you need. I don't know if there's anyone else. 4.5 Ks for Gowan.
4.5 Ks for Gowan, right around 5.5 for Eovaldi. I don't know if I love those, but those are I don't know. I'd probably play both outs. All right, boys. Anything else?
No, my closing thought was that yesterday me and Josh had a decent show, and someone in the chat mentioned that we got the win over a troll that really hated on my Joel Embiid over 4.5 assists prop.
Where you at?
Yeah, he really, really thought it was a bad play, and then
told us we were new.
Yeah, we got the win over that one. So someone said in the chat earlier. So it's always nice to have the money in your pocket, but also a little moral victory.
Sure. Absolutely. All right, boys. World Series tonight, NBA, full weekend of NFL. So fun weekend, good time of the year for sports. Appreciate you guys listening. Thank you to Pickett. Thank you to Sleeper. We'll be back Monday, noon Eastern. See you then.